You're still watching Joy News Prime. Let's wrap up with business for tonight. Government has moved to establish a national unemployment insurance scheme. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, during the mid-year budget review, announced that the scheme would target employees during unexpected job losses. The scheme also aims to provide temporary income support to workers who have been affected by the COVID-19 outbreak in Ghana. But how feasible is this insurance scheme? I have been joined by insurance practitioner Justice Bepra and labor expert Austin Game for some conversation around this very topic. Good evening, gentlemen. Thanks so much for your time this evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so I think I have Justice, or do I also have Mr. Austin Game? Okay, good evening, gentlemen, once again. Let me start with you. First of all, Justice, what do you make of this unemployment insurance scheme as an insurance person?
Thank you very much for this opportunity, and good evening to your listeners as well. I think 2 months ago, barely 2 months ago, I actually wrote on this unemployment insurance or job insurance. And I think that it's hard time. I mean, we have to have this. In other jurisdictions, they have used insurance to resolve a lot of social issues. So in my letter, I wrote something that in case we didn't have the national pension, that is SNP, what would have happened to people after, let's say, 60 years, they go on retirement? So we have seen that job loss or unemployment, I mean, is on the increase. So we have to find a way to resolve it. I mean, the first way is to create jobs, but we are unable to create enough jobs for people who come from school. In the same way, people also lose their jobs. And look at from the banking crisis, so people lost their jobs. And now COVID-19, which we're not expecting. I mean, so that is a risk. Also has come in, and a lot of businesses have gone down and people have lost their job. So, I mean, this, when people lose their jobs too, it also affects spending in the economy. So more or less, it affects the economy. So we need to have an insurance in place.
So in short, you support this scheme, right, Justice? In short, you are in favor of this new insurance scheme for workers, right?
I'm all for it.
Okay, hold it. We'll come to how this will all... Hold it for me, Justice. We'll come to how it all works. But Mr. Austin Game, let me bring you. In our last conversation prior to the mid-year budget presentation, you were not sure how this scheme was going to work for several reasons, especially because we don't have credible data on unemployment in Ghana. Having listened to the Finance Minister yesterday in Parliament, has your position changed?
So certainly not yet changed. It's quite a good idea to have an insurance policy, employment insurance policy in place. That is why we envisage that. That is why we made provision in the labor law for it, far back as 2003 when it was first approved. But the reality is that to date, we don't have the data. We shouldn't do anything in an ad hoc manner that will become an issue for us to be resolving later. I pray. I know how credible it is to have this kind of thing. It's some well thought of thing. Hence, like I said, it was put in the Labour Act, Section 6, and we envisage that it will be open to a national discussion to enable us to have a very, very credible insurance policy for unemployment, so that when those of us who will be contributing towards it will not regret it. So we should not hurriedly do anything that will pose a problem for the nation tomorrow. It's a good idea, but I do not think it is ready to take off now.
Okay, Justice, let me bring you back in here. I'm sure a lot of people will be wondering, in that presentation yesterday, it was not quite clear how this was going to be implemented, whether it's going to be shared between the employer and the employee, or government to bear some sort of cost, and then the employee also contribute some. As an expert in this field, how does or how will an insurance scheme for unemployed persons work?
Okay, actually, I'm waiting for their implementation guideline. but from the little I can say, government even can't have it all. They can have the basics, and I expect the private sector also to take it up from there. That's the private insurance company. So what government even can have in place now could be unemployment or job loss insurance due to, let's say, catastrophic losses, or let's say fundamental risk, something like COVID-19. This one comes to affect a larger people. So this one, we can have the national insurance, and I expect that maybe we can have an independent body or group of people or an institution that will work, in relation to this, so that at least it was be different, separated from government. So normally we can have experts together, and as my colleague was saying, we need to have a lot of discussion on how we are even going to contribute, whether we are going to take a percentage. And even if you're talking about data, we can also start from Senate. So with the former sector, we can have a lot of data, we can know a lot of people who are working from there, and start and see how best we can generate data also from that.
Well said, Justice. So, Mr. Game, quickly, well said. I think you've made your point. Mr. Game, quickly before we go, let me, in that presentation again, it was not too clear as to what will happen, because we've been told that persons who've already lost their jobs as a result of the COVID-19 will also benefit from this scheme. Do we know where the source of funding will be for those who are already gone? Because for those who are still here, we'll be contributing towards that, right?
Certainly not yet made known, but the reality is that what will be done with the COVID situation will be a complete situational management thing, and it will be a temporary thing. We have a very, very lasting program. When I say we, I'm talking about the time we're writing the Labour Act. We put in place a clear assignment for the Labour Department, whose name will have to be changed, structure will have to be rebuilt, technology will be deeply introduced, and data collection will be just a matter of course. When all that is in place, then the insurance people will come in, everybody, contribution by both private and public sector will be in. We do not need maybe government to be contributing so much from national kitty in respect of this matter. The contribution will be done in accordance with the original plan that we have when we're writing the labor law.
Okay, Justice, quickly, Mr. Game has said that, yes, we do not have the data to embark on this exercise. You said you're in for it. Do you think that, or don't you think that we need the appropriate system in place? I'm talking about data, credible data, before we embark on such an exercise.
Exactly so. So I still believe that what the minister said is going to be temporary. And as Mr. Austin Game said, we need to have a permanent one in place. And this permanent one can even be developed to cover unemployment. Let's say people who come from school and after their national service, they are unable to get job. They can receive even monthly money, some sort of money, as they are still looking for jobs. So it's a whole big thing that we can start from somewhere. But I'm sure what the minister talked about is a temporary something. But we need to have a discussion. We need to begin to build the data and have a permanent one for job loss. And
is it not strange that you, as an insurance person and also as a labor expert, you've not been engaged whatsoever as to what goes into this scheme?
Yeah, to be honest with you, really there's really no dialogue. In the meantime, this is purely a situational management, some kind of emergency situation. If it is said so, we'll all go in for it. But there is a very clear and loud, precise program that should go with this kind of thing. And Labour Department is a department that will be changed, structurally changed, technologically changed, skilled people, and they will collect this data. The insurance people will come in strong. It is not SNIT directly.
Okay.
SNIT data will be just a small thing.
All right, gentlemen, I'm sorry we have to leave it here. Justice Bepra and Mr. Austin Game, grateful for your time this evening.